There is a silent killer, more dangerous than failure, more crippling than poverty, more destructive than rejection. And it is not loud. It does not knock down your door. It whispers. It whispers, what if you're wrong? What if they laugh at you? What if you're not ready? That whisper is called indecision, and it is the seedling, the birthplace of fear. Every time you hesitate, every time you stand at a crossroads and fail to move, a seed is planted, not a seed of power but of paralysis. And if you water it with doubt, it will grow into fear so strong that it will grip your potential and crush it before it even breathes. You see, indecision isn't just a moment of hesitation. It's a message to your subconscious that says, I do not trust myself. And when you don't trust yourself, you invite fear to take over. Fear doesn't need an open door. It slips through cracks, the cracks formed by your uncertainty. People don't fail because they lack talent. They don't fall short because they lack opportunity. Most fall because they waited too long. They paused when they should have leapt. They questioned when they should have committed. The richest ideas, the greatest inventions, the most beautiful dreams, many never saw the light of day because someone chose to think a little longer, to wait for the right moment, to gather just a little more confidence. But understand this, indecision is a decision to delay, a decision to allow doubt to fester, a decision to feed the fear instead of your faith. Every great success began with a committed decision, a moment where someone said, I don't know all the answers, but I'm going forward anyway. That moment shuts the door on fear. Because when you decide, when you act with purpose, fear loses its grit. You cannot fear the unknown when you are too busy creating it. The world will always present you with options. Left or right, stay or go, build or break. But life rewards those who decide, not those who hesitate. Life does not respond to hesitation, it responds to movement. Do not wait until you feel ready. Readiness is not a feeling, it is a decision. Make it, live with it, grow from it. Let the world see a person who moves with clarity even when the road is unclear. Let it see someone who doesn't wait for perfect conditions because there are none. Let it see someone who refuses to let indecision become the gateway to fear. Plant a different seed, one called conviction, one called faith, one called definiteness of purpose, and then water it with action. Because once you decide, truly decide, the war is already half won. Indecision is not harmless. It is not innocent. It is not a small pause that fades away quietly. Indecision is a seed, and that seed grows fast. It roots itself in your mind and begins to spread. One moment of hesitation becomes two. One doubt leads to another. And before you know it, your dreams are being choked by vines of fear that started as nothing more than a little delay, a little uncertainty, a little I'll decide tomorrow. People believe fear shows up loud. They expect it to be obvious. They wait for it to show up with shaking hands, racing thoughts, or sweaty palms. But fear doesn't always come with a warning sign. Often it doesn't come kicking the door down. It walks in quietly, behind your indecision. When you say, I'll think about it, fear says, good, take your time, I'll get stronger. When you say, I'm not sure yet, fear whispers, perfect, let me plant some more doubt. That is how fear begins, not as terror, but as hesitation. And that hesitation is poison. It kills slowly, so you won't notice. 1 week goes by, 1 month, 1 year. Then you look back and realize you didn't lose to failure, you lost to fear. But it didn't start with fear, it started with indecision. The danger of indecision is that it feels safe. That's the illusion. It feels like you're being smart, being careful, being cautious. But caution is not the same as wisdom. Delaying action is not the same as discernment. There is wisdom in timing, but only when it is guided by purpose, not by paralysis. And too many people are not waiting for the right time, they're stalling because fear has begun to grow roots in their indecision. Every successful person you've ever admired had to make a decision when the outcome was unclear. They had to take a step when there was no guarantee. They had to say yes when their hands were shaking. What separated them from the rest wasn't talent, money, or education. It was the ability to make decisions quickly, clearly, and with conviction. They didn't let the seed of indecision stay in the ground long enough to grow. They pulled it out before it took hold. You must understand this. Indecision is a signal to your subconscious mind. It tells your brain, we don't know what we're doing, and your brain listens. It begins to doubt. It starts playing it safe, and then it creates excuses. I need more information. It's not the right time, maybe later. But these are not rational thoughts. They are the fruit of a seed that was never meant to be watered. The longer you stay in indecision, the louder fear becomes. You begin to imagine the worst-case scenario. You start asking what-if questions that have no end. What if I fail? What if people judge me? What if it doesn't work? But here's the truth. None of those questions matter if you never take the first step. Because failure is not the enemy, rejection is not the enemy, inaction is. Fear is fed by what you don't, and the more you wait, the more power it gains. There are people right now with brilliant ideas, world-changing visions, solutions that could transform lives. And they'll never release them. Not because the ideas aren't good, not because they don't have what it takes, but because they're stuck in the trap of indecision. And it is a trap. One that promises safety, but delivers regret. You've seen it before. A person with big dreams, huge plans, but they're always getting ready. They're always thinking about it. Years pass, and the fire inside them grows cold. Not because life beat them down, but because they never moved. They never chose. They never acted. They allowed indecision to plant fear, and that fear robbed them of their future. You cannot afford to wait. You cannot afford to sit on the edge, wondering if the water is cold. You must jump. Not because it's easy, not because you're sure, but because waiting will only make you weaker, and the more you wait, the harder it gets to leap. Not because the challenge changed, but because you did. Because indecision is not passive, it is a force that shapes you. It builds habits of hesitation, and habits become identity. The most dangerous thing about indecision is that it trains your mind to avoid risk. It creates a lifestyle of almost. Almost started the business. Almost asked for the opportunity. Almost made the call. Almost pursued the dream. But almost is the language of the afraid, and it is written in the script of those who let indecision breed fear, and fear breed regret. So many people are walking around afraid of the wrong thing. They're afraid of failing, afraid of being judged, afraid of discomfort. But the thing they should be afraid of is indecision, because that is the silent destroyer. That is the slow death. That is the quiet killer of calling, of purpose, of greatness. And it never announces itself. It just grows quietly in the background until one day you realize everything you wanted has passed you by. The only way to kill fear is with decision. You don't need more time. You don't need more information. You need more courage. You need to say, I'm going forward, ready or not. Because you're never really ready. You never know what's on the other side. You never have all the answers, and you don't need them. What you need is a decision, a full, committed, burning decision, one that doesn't leave room for fear to grow. You are not weak. You are not lost. You are not broken. But you may be waiting, and that wait is where fear is being born. That moment you keep putting off, that conversation you keep avoiding, that step you keep postponing, that is the door where fear is knocking. And if you don't answer with action, fear will walk right in. Greatness demands decisiveness. Power demands movement. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's the refusal to let indecision breed it. Every second you spend in uncertainty is a second fear uses to build strength. But when you choose, when you truly choose, you tell fear it has no place. You tell your mind, we move now, we grow now, we build now, and the universe, opportunity, and your destiny begin to respond. This is not about rushing. It's not about carelessness. It's about clarity. It's about conviction. It's about choosing not to live in the shadows of what might be, and instead stepping into what must be. because you weren't created to sit on the sidelines of your own life. You weren't made to see how it goes. You were built to decide, to move, to act, to turn visions into victories. And no, it won't be easy. No, it won't be perfect. But the path becomes clear after you begin. Doors open after you knock. Resources arrive after you commit. And clarity follows courage, not the other way around. Don't wait for everything to line up. Line yourself up and move. Indecision will lie to you. It will tell you it's wise to wait. But the truth is, there is no wisdom in wasting your life. Make the decision, make it fast, make it firm, and watch fear disappear in the face of your momentum. Because fear cannot survive where action lives, and indecision cannot survive where purpose leads. People believe indecision is neutral. They believe if they don't choose, they're safe. That if they wait long enough, life will hand them the answer. But what they don't realize is this: indecision is a decision. It's not a pause. It's not a timeout. It is a choice. And not just any choice. It is a decision to delay your life. It is a decision to stand still while time moves forward. It is a decision to let fear, doubt, and circumstance dictate your path. There are dreams that have been sitting in your heart for years. Visions that keep showing up in your mind. Ideas that won't leave you alone. And they are waiting, but they won't wait forever. The window doesn't stay open. The clock doesn't stop ticking. And at some point you have to wake up and say, no more waiting. No more fear. No more playing it safe. I decide. I move. I build. I become. Because when you do that, when you fully commit, something shifts. Your energy changes. Your mind gets sharp. Your actions become deliberate. And life begins to respond. Opportunities open. People show up. Doors appear. But they don't come to the one who hesitates. They come to the one who decides. The most powerful force in your life is not what happens to you. It's not what people say. It's not what you've been through. It's the decisions you make daily. And when you realize that indecision is a decision to do nothing, you'll start treating it with the seriousness it deserves. You'll stop giving it room in your life. You'll stop letting it rob you of momentum. You'll stop giving it permission to keep you stuck. It's time to take the pen back. It's time to stop letting hesitation write your story. Your future belongs to the one who decides, not the one who delays. Decide who you are. Decide what you want. Decide what you're willing to give. And then move in that direction with relentless, unstoppable, undeniable clarity. Because indecision is a decision, and you're stronger than that. People wait. They wait for the right moment, the right opportunity, the perfect conditions. They convince themselves that once everything aligns, then they'll move. Once they feel ready, then they'll act. Once the economy shifts, once the fear fades, once the timing is just right, then they'll go all in. But that mindset is the very reason most people never succeed. They spend their entire lives waiting for a moment that doesn't exist. Success was never built on perfection. It was built on commitment. The person who wins isn't the one with the most resources. It's the one who is most resourceful. It's the one who decides to act even when the path is unclear. It's the one who says, I may not have all the answers, but I'm going anyway. They're not waiting for the weather to change. They're not waiting for the applause or the guarantee. They commit first and figure it out as they go. That is the mindset that separates the average from the extraordinary. Perfect conditions are a myth. Life is unpredictable. Circumstances change. Markets shift. People walk away. Plans fall apart. If your commitment depends on the environment being perfect, you're not committed, you're convenient. You're in love with the idea of success, not the price. Because real success demands that you move forward while it's messy, while it's unclear, while you're scared. If you only act when things feel easy, you will never act at all. The ones who build legacy, impact, greatness, they don't wait for perfection. They create it through movement. They create it through decisions that others would call risky, foolish, or premature. But what looks foolish to the world often turns into wisdom with time. It's easy to criticize the one who moves while everyone else is standing still, but the critic has no legacy. The bystander leaves no blueprint. The self-absorbed bystander, academic, or whatever would say, blueprints. Only the committed change history. When you commit, you remove the exit signs. You stop asking, what if it doesn't work, and start asking, what must I become to make it work? That shift changes everything. Commitment doesn't mean you won't fail. It means you won't quit. It means you will fall, but you'll get up. It means you'll face setbacks, but you won't fold. It means that no matter how uncomfortable or inconvenient or imperfect the conditions become, you stay the course. And yet, people still chase comfort. They still chase clarity. They want to feel ready before they act. But readiness is not a feeling, it's a decision. It's a fire that starts deep inside when you finally get tired of your excuses. It's the moment you stop negotiating with your potential, when you say, I don't care what it costs, I'm in. That's commitment. That's what success responds to. Not your dreams, not your talent, your decision. The person who says, I'll start when it calms down, is lying to themselves. Life doesn't calm down. The chaos doesn't stop. There will always be problems, always be fear, always be noise. You must learn to commit in the chaos. You must learn to be decisive when everything in you wants to delay. Because every minute you delay, someone else is acting, someone else is moving, someone else is building the thing you're still only talking about. Talk doesn't build empires, action does. And action flows from commitment, not from conditions. Conditions may inspire you, but they won't carry you. They won't sustain you when the weight gets heavy. Only commitment will. That fire, that obsession, that non-negotiable mindset, it's what turns average into unstoppable. It's what turns ordinary people into leaders, into legends, into history makers. Not because they had more, they just decided more boldly. The lie that keeps people stuck is, I need more time. I need more information. I need to be more prepared. But there's always someone out there with less time, less knowledge, less preparation, who is doing more than you. They decided. That's it. They decided that success isn't about everything being perfect. It's about showing up when it's hard. It's about moving when it's scary. It's about speaking up when your voice is shaking. And it's about doing what others won't, so you can live how others can. Look back at the most impactful moments in your life. They didn't happen when everything was comfortable. They happened when something inside you snapped. When you said, I can't live like this anymore. That's commitment. That's when things changed. Not because the world changed, but because you did. You decided to become more, to push harder, to stop waiting for life to give you permission. Life doesn't hand you your dream on a silver platter. It hands you chaos, pressure, and obstacles and waits to see if you're serious. Commitment is how you respond. And when you show you're serious, doors open. Not before. People say, I'm waiting for the right sign. No, you are the sign. Your decision is the sign. Your fire is the sign. Success doesn't come to the lucky. It comes to the committed, relentless. When you commit, the excuses fall away. Suddenly, I'm too tired becomes irrelevant. I don't feel like it loses power. What if I fail becomes a question you stop asking, because it no longer matters. When you're truly committed, failure isn't final. It's part of the process. It's feedback. It's fuel. And that's why the committed keep rising. They keep adapting. They keep creating progress in the middle of imperfection. Waiting for perfect conditions is not strategy. It's self-sabotage. It's fear in disguise. It's procrastination wearing a mask of logic. And you can convince yourself for years that you're just being smart, when in reality, you're just scared to move. But the only way to grow is to move through the fear, to take action while you're unsure, to step forward when the path is still foggy. And the more you do it, the stronger you become, the more clarity you gain, because clarity is earned in motion, not before it. You don't have to know every step. You just need to know your next move, and then take it with everything you've got. That's the secret. One committed step at a time, one act of boldness after another. Stack them, repeat them, And before you know it, you'll look back and realize you created momentum, not because it was easy, but because you chose to be faithful in the middle of the mess. Most people don't fail because they lack intelligence or talent. They fail because they refuse to commit when it counts. They flirt with success but never marry it. They dabble, they try, they test. But success doesn't respond to tests. It responds to devotion. It responds to obsession. You don't become successful by trying. You become successful by refusing to quit. You want something different? You want a bigger life? Then commit like your life depends on it, because it does. Stop waiting for the circumstances to be right. Make a decision and make the circumstances right through your action. That's how real transformation happens. Not in theory, in the trenches, in the decision to keep showing up, keep giving your best, keep grinding when it's dark, when it's lonely, when it's painful,